So far in the Russian invasion of Ukraine, you've had 352 Ukrainians that have been killed and 3,500 Russians who have been killed. Putin's war on Ukraine is killing Russians, more Russians by a factor of 10. 10 times as many Russians are dying than the Ukrainians are dying. So Putin's war on Ukraine isn't just killing Ukrainians, it's killing Russians too. So inni nakwi, Putin. Inni nakwi, Russia. Go fuck yourselves, you motherfuckers. Get the fuck out of Ukraine, you sons of bitches. Stay strong, Ukraine. The hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in a period of moral crisis maintain their neutrality.
Well, our very own Cenk Uygur was trending on Twitter today because he apparently triggered the right wing with a simple tweet. Let me read that tweet to you. He says, right wing doesn't love Putin just because he's an authoritarian, tyrannical leader. They love him because he's a white authoritarian leader. Race has become more important than even nationality. They've turned on democracy and now even America in favor of a white warlord. Now, that immediately led to all this backlash because let me tell you something. The one thing the right wing doesn't like is you telling them exactly who they are. It happened when I said I was better than the racists that were, comparing Leslie Jones to Harambe the gorilla. They didn't like the fact that I called them out on their racism. So every time they want to come at me, they're like, are you better than me? I am better than you. I'm saying it again. Go cry about it. But anyway, Cenk, I thought that your tweet was fine. I think that the reason why some people have a knee-jerk reaction to it is because you do have some elements of the Democratic Party weaponizing race to their advantage all the time. But in this case, I think that you actually have a lot of credibility in that argument. And we have receipts to show you. So
I mainly care about the receipts. But
all right, we'll get to whatever Cenk has to say. But he's right. He's right. That stupid piece of shit. Cenk's tweet on race is absolutely fucking brilliant. Absolutely fucking brilliant. He's right. So thanks a lot, BreadTube. I don't know why BreadTube gives Cenk Uygur such a wide berth, such a wide lane. Just give him the whole expressway system. The entire Eisenhower expressway system. Anyways. Cenk Uygur, he tweets out that it's about racism and it's not about nationality anymore. Donald Trump and the white supremacists in America love Putin because he's a white person and a white person is invading Ukraine, so therefore it looks like a white man being strong and a white man doing, whatever the hell he wants to do, and he's there to stop the damn Nazis, right? He sees. And so the racists in America, the white supremacists in America, they're more white. Their white nationalism is trumping their American nationalism. They're saying, who gives a shit about America? We don't care about this nation. We don't care about this country. The Democrat Party, the liberals, they're the enemies. They're more of an enemy than Putin is. We wouldn't care if Putin came in here and invaded this country. Let Putin take this country over. We'd rather be run by Putin than we would rather, have this system where we vote and have a democracy. We'd rather have Putin invade Ukraine, Germany. Hell, let them come and invade goddamn Kansas, right? They won't say shit about that. They'll welcome Putin's invasion. Cenk is absolutely correct that the Republican Party are showing their fucking asses. They hate America because of their white supremacy. They're so fucking racist. Their love of their white skin, and it's not white, it's more peach, you motherfuckers. It's more potent than their love of country. So that's why Republicans love Putin over America, because Putin is white. They love whiteness more than they love America. Their American nationalism, who gives a shit? But white power, their white fucking power asses are showing. And what's ironic about that is that the Ukrainians are white too. And the hope is, the Ukraine can't defeat Russia, but if Ukraine can hold it out long enough and fight and die and show how courageous that they can be when they're being oppressed. You got the neighbor being attacked. You're just sitting there on your fucking asses, right, America? Your neighbor's being attacked and you ain't gonna do shit about it because you don't know right from wrong. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. How can we have peace if we don't have the presence of justice? Hopefully the International Criminal Court takes up Zelensky's case. War crimes, this is one big war fucking crime. So Cenk Uygur is 100% correct. He's right about the banks want to maximize their profits, so America doesn't get into World War II until 2 years after it began. Got to let the bankers make their fucking money. Meanwhile, millions are getting killed. Anne Frank, she gets killed 2 months before Liberation Day. What's up, America? You couldn't jump in when it first fucking happened. You couldn't nip that shit in the bud. You waited and you waited and you waited. Did it make it better? You waited 2 years. The bankers made a whole bunch of money. Did you make it better? How do you think Anne Frank fucking felt with you motherfuckers, huh? Yeah, you waited too fucking long, you pieces of shit. You white supremacist motherfuckers. You identify with Hitler more than you did with Anne Frank. You white supremacist motherfuckers, you identify with a 23-year dictator, an autocratic dictator who hates democracy, who's invading another white nation? That makes no sense. These Republicans are acting like they'd vote for him or something. Donald's comments about the Ukrainian invasion are treacherous, traitorous, and treasonous. Fucking smart and genius. Yeah, that Putin, your best fucking buddy, huh? How many hotels you got in goddamn Russia, Donald? You fucking piece of shit. You fucking treasonous, traitorous, treacherous son of a bitch. So let's listen to what Cenk Uygur has to say about his own comment. I mean, his comment's fucking brilliant. Because that is what's happening. Tucker, how the fuck can you look at the Ukrainian, Russia being invaded by Ukraine? Maybe you could try to say you're neutral or some shit. But what you can't say is that Russia is doing good and right and proper. That you cannot say. Not in good conscience. No fucking way.
Guys, Dave, the culture wars are so prevalent now. Trump started by saying, "Oh, Putin, I like Putin. Putin's a good guy, right?" Yeah. And Trump had a personal financial interest in it. And his sons have said it many times. Not related to his presidential campaign, whether it was related to his administration is a different question. But his son said, well before he even ran for president, we get all of our money from Russia. So there's a reason why Trump has a personal affinity for Putin. That was the beginning. But now Tucker Carlson didn't have to do it, and all the other right-wing pundits and media figures didn't have to do it. They're all choosing to celebrate Putin in different ways. And so I was wondering why. What a weird turn. It's Alice in Wonderland. It's upside down world. The right wing used to hate the Soviet Union and the goddamn Ruskies, the Russians were the worst. They're the ones who did the Red Scare. Now all of a sudden they're like, oh, Putin is strong and wonderful and it's just so great, right? You're like, what the world happened? And they are desirous of a white leader who takes charge and is a strong man. And mainly, you remember the right wing never cared about democracy. And they showed it on January 6th, but they've been showing it our whole history. They were like, oh, democracy and equality for black people? No. We're going to do slavery, then we're going to do Jim Crow, and we're going to make sure that they don't have equality for hundreds of years. Who did that? The right wing did that. They've never cared about democracy. They just want to be in charge. And when they see Vladimir Putin pushing people around, they're like, there's a good white guy pushing people around, not taking any. Are the other.
That's exactly correct. That's right. Cenk is absolutely correct. So I had applied to teacher training school in the University of Louisville, and I needed a European history class to fulfill my, prerequisites. Well, you can, apply to teacher training school. You're going to teach history. Well, you need to have this history class, this history. I need to have at least one history class from European history. Well, I had a Russian history course. So, I graduated. Actually, I took an extra year. I took 5 years on my undergraduate work. And I took a Russian history course thinking, of course, that's a European history course. So I'm ready to graduate. And I have all the other prerequisites except for my, I have my European history class. The way I understand Russia, it's not like firmly in Europe. But if you ever remember the European map, at least in my, classroom, there's a little chunk of Russia that was just kind of, sticking its fucking nose over there in Europe. So, I wouldn't say that Russia's 100%, European. They're, mostly Asian. in terms of the East and the West, but there's a chunk that's in Europe. There's a piece of Western Russia that was always in Europe. So maybe, Russia isn't totally in Europe, but shit. I was already on year 5 of my undergraduate work, breaking up a 8-year hiatus. So I took 2 years, 8-year break, came back, 5-year my undergraduate work, and now they're telling me I got to take another semester just for one fucking class to get a European history class. Why? The only other class that was offered at the time was German, and that motherfucker started, I walked outside of his class thinking I was going to, I dropped it immediately, but he was going on and on about Charlemagne. I don't know. Maybe I could have. My ancestors come from Germany, so I can be skeptical of the German people if I fucking want to. And I took Russian history, and it was a good ass course, and I'm glad I took Russian history. It was a good ass course. To know thy enemy, to know the world. Anyways, I'm just, the argument is Russia Europe or not? Well, you got some fucking administrative fucking dumb fucking douchebag, right? I apply for this and I put all my papers out, and then immediately they just want, some prick, some fucking piece of shit prick with some, tiny bit of authority, a modicum of authority, just taking it all the way to the fucking moon. So I completed my political science degree after about a decade later, but now they want me to take an extra semester just to learn about Portugal or some other fucking solidly 100% European country. It was bullshit. It was bullshit. Just because they're being overly nitpicky about whether Russian history qualified as European history. And then when I started thinking about the argument, what a piece of Russia was in my, my high school, the map of my high school classroom, a piece of Russia was in the side of the Europe, and it's like, well, shit, that's not a very strong argument, but that's the argument, motherfucker. But it's interesting how those white women at the University of Louisville, at the teacher training school, how they did not think of Russia as, as part of Europe or part of, they were not, Russians are not, anything that they could identify with. Now it just feels like, some fucking stupid ass administrative who, who's got a tiny bit of authority, just, abusing the fuck out of their tiny bit of authority, causing trouble. And it's like, gee, what the fuck are you supposed to do with somebody like that? The shit just happened. It's only a minor thing, a little tiny thing, but I'm 40 years old. You have to be 21 years of age to buy marijuana. Well, I go to the marijuana shop, and the guy looks at my ID, and I guess, it expired, which is actually exciting, which means I've been in Colorado for 5 fucking years. But he had said since I didn't have a valid ID, therefore I couldn't prove that I was 21, and I had to go home and get a passport or some other shit. I'm 40 years old. If I get a brand new ID, it'll still say I'm 40 fucking years old. I was 40 years old on the first goddamn driver's license that I got when I was 18. I'm 40 years old on the driver's license that I get today. The birthday doesn't change on it. But he wants to be a fucking cop, right? He's actually being more than a fucking cop. And, yeah, okay. My driver's, license just expired. It just fucking expired like a week ago, which means happy birthday, right? But that motherfucker wasn't like, happy birthday. Hey, congratulations for being in Colorado for 5 years. Of course you're 40 years old. I've actually bought marijuana from that place before. Even got a little fucking card with the owner's name on it. But this stupid ass, bitch ass piece of shit motherfucker, he got a tiny little bit of fucking authority. He wants, he wants a valid driver's license, an up-to-date valid driver's license to prove that I'm 21. Motherfucker, I'm 21 years of age. But he wasn't trying to, see if I was 21 years of age. He just wanted to say he's got power, he's got authority, respect his authority. That's all he gave a shit about. So I walked away, but fuck that business, you motherfuckers. You want my fucking money and you're going to sit there and treat me like that? How many fucking times? It's like a person. I remember somebody that would ID me, every time I bought cigarettes. Every fucking time. I bought cigarettes for 50 times in a row. Well, I still need to see if you're still 18. Maybe what? I went backwards? Maybe I'm doing some Benjamin Button shit? Maybe I'm goddamn 3 years old? What the fuck are you talking about? So why did that piece of shit do that? Motherfuckers, motherfuckers do that shit, all the goddamn time. He had a wee bit of power. He had a wee bit of power and he overused it. So it's going to be their business that gets hurt. Teacher training school, them motherfuckers want to be like, well, you got a nice, impressive career here. 100 classes, 120 credits, good on this, but this thing right here, I don't know about this. I don't know if you actually qualify. Motherfucker, I've been teaching people since the fact that, I don't qualify because some dumb administrative bureaucratic motherfucker, you know how you destroyed my curiosity. I mean, do you not understand education? Okay, so whatever. They're gonna fuck me over, right? I got fucked. He had a wee bit of power. She had a wee bit of power. And that weed store, I had to drive another 10 minutes up the damn road. So on a highway crawling with state troopers, so I'm supposed to risk getting pulled over just to go make sure that they make their fucking money. Fuck you. I was excited about the $105 ounce at that store, but now I'm like, even after I get my new ID, I still probably won't go. The other business got $110 ounce now, so fuck you motherfuckers. But that's the same thing. The administrative lady at the teacher training school at the U of L had a wee bit of power. The doorman at the weed shop had a wee bit of power. And nobody stooge and nobody toothpick. And they wound up costing me, for the weed guy didn't get my weed. And my education. Or so-called education. My credentialed education. I got 5 years of political science degree. Well, I don't know if that's good enough for you to be able to teach history. Learn history, motherfuckers. You Nazi motherfucking racist pieces of shit. It's more about authority over people than it is about solidarity and love and compassion. And with the teacher training school, I went to a different teacher training school. I made straight A's at that place too. Straight A's the whole time. They fucked me over at the very end, but 2 fucking years. They took 60 grand. I did everything that they said for 2 fucking years. And then some Nazi asshole started being shitty. They said that it was an equal partnership, but it wasn't. It was more of a temp kind of thing. But they didn't give a shit. Equality? Fairness? Do you actually know the history? You're excited about the history? You could actually encourage and inspire other people to learn? Well, we don't want that. We're Nazis here. Shut the fuck up and do what we tell you. That's how you learn. No, it isn't, motherfucker. Read all the literature. None of it says that. You're just Nazis who like to have power over other people. And when you say, I get the power over you, you're saying the other person is nobody and you're everything. Motherfucking teachers get paid to have power. Kick the teachers out. Kick the administrator. And then the administrators, what the fuck is the point of a bureaucrat? They're even less important than a damn teacher. You got the hierarchy. What the fuck is administrator there for? Just to fuck you over? Well, Russia's not Europe. Anyways, what's the point of this entire thing is Russia was barely in Europe, so they're kind of Europe. Not really, but they are white, right? Is that what Europe is? Is Europe just a bunch of white people? In some respects, Western civilization feels like the study of white people, white Europe, white America. So Russia is barely in Europe. They're mostly in Asia, but they're kind of Europe. They're white, kind of Europe, but Russia probably feels like the fat white kid left out of the white club. So the fat white kid is not part of the white club. How come? How come Russia doesn't get to be a part of the white European Union club? How come Russia doesn't get to be a part of the white Western club? How come Russia doesn't get to be a part of, the white NATO club? So what is white Russia going to do? White Russia is going to get some respect, and they're going to attack white Ukraine to get some white respect, God damn it. So, yeah. Fuck the Nazis. I don't know where I'm going with this, but fuck the Nazis. Hopefully this denazification movement comes to the U.S. I'm glad everybody hates the Nazis in Europe. What the fuck is up with the strain of evil here? You got Nazis in Kansas. You got Nazis in Florida. You got Nazis in Maine and Vermont. You got Nazis in New Hampshire. You got Nazis in Montana and Alaska and California and Arizona and Alabama and Louisiana. And you got Nazis in Minnesota. And you got Nazis in goddamn Oklahoma and Idaho. Why the fuck you got Nazis all over the fucking place? All of Europe hates the Nazis, and yet there's a Nazi movement in America? How sick. Y'all so rich and educated, but you don't do democracy, you don't do civil society. You picked up a racist, evil ideology, and that's who you are? You got all this privilege, all this, and you're going to waste it by being a Nazi piece of shit because you have no soul, no conscience. It's all about manipulating and hurting and controlling other people, but it's not about being good to liberate democracy. I mean, referendum, initiative, recall, the right to vote, the elections. They're against democracy, man. They're against freedom, and they're against democracy, which means they're against our fucking humanity. So, yeah, Cenk's tweet about race is absolutely right. The white racists in America are identifying with Putin